Morning, Rich.
Morning, Joe.
How are you, buddy?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good. It's looking like it's going to be a beautiful day here, so life's good.
That is good.
Yeah, man. How was your event on the weekend?
It was okay. We got a few people, not too many, but it wasn't too bad.
Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, trying different things, you know, trying to get the word out there, and so
You know what? The thing with the customer appreciation event, and I'm it's my experience in doing them in the past. It's one of those things where and it's funny because when I saw the email go through to Shauna, I'm like, oh man. I mean, I know exactly where you guys were going with it. Um, and again, I'm just giving you information. I would have emailed everybody. Like, I know this sounds almost crazy, but I would have emailed them 12 times because it some people it goes to their spam filter, something like so you could set up like a campaign in the future where you could do um, like a social media campaign, not just on your email, because there's going to be some people that it goes to their spam filter or they may unsubscribe.
right.
Uh, but you could also do a text campaign, and you get people notice, right? Like you do 3 weeks in advance or a month before, and then you got to give them a reason to come by. I mean, hey, you're all great people, but you know what? Some people have other plans or whatever, and it's one of those things where it's like, hey, what can I do to entice somebody to come back to the store and bring a friend? And there's some stores that do a wine and cheese purely for appreciation, and like as enticing as it is, free food, free booze, that gets people in. It just works.
Free booze is always a good.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
It certainly helps the cause.
I was
We had one guy who drank enough for about 15. So he did the Lord's work, making sure that he got his fill.
Is that right?
So, yeah, he was throwing our boy was throwing a few back.
Was he on your team or just a regular, like just a customer?
Customer.
Okay, gotcha.
He had actually rented that day. We told him about the happy hour. There's a restaurant like bar across the street called Seaview, so he started there, and he just kept the momentum. Came over to our place.
Stop. Yeah.
He was feeling no pain by the time he rolled out of Pedego at Cape May. Let me tell you.
That's great.
Fortunately, he had his wife to drive him.
That's great.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, again, I know all these things aren't going to be home runs right out of the gate, but we're certainly gonna keep trying things and
Yeah, you have to. You have to. And it's like doing the group ride. The group ride is a great way to keep building up your community. And I mean, the first few times you get your group rides together, you're gonna have like nobody. You're gonna have one person. And eventually it starts to stick that people remember, oh yeah, Cape May's group ride, and when they're a regular, it's kind of like becoming a member of a gym where now they just keep coming.
Yeah.
And group rides can be, for people that are already Pedego owners, it's free. It's just a community building thing.
Yep.
But then for other people, you could charge them a nominal fee just to take part of the ride. And I mean, you could include, I know that one of the most successful group rides that I've seen is Pedego Myrtle Beach. I mean, that guy does a significant amount.
Does he?
Oh, yeah, he had 16 people. I was there on a Saturday morning. Hey, Pat.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. I was there in Myrtle Beach a couple years back, and Aaron had 16 people come out for a group ride. Of the 16, there were 4 people that were regulars, and everybody else had just come in through word of mouth. Or, I mean, and I'm like, is it like this every? He does 2 group rides a week. He does a Wednesday night group ride where it's a beer and bike or bike and beer. So it's like they go out and then they all finish up at a local bar and they all have beers.
Right.
Yeah, actually quite impressive. And then the Saturday morning ride where people show up at 8:30. By the time he's got everybody on bikes and he's done his, this is how you walk your bike and everything else, it's shortly after 9. And even though the store is supposed to open at 10, he doesn't come back till 11. And it's 16 people when I was there, and I mean, he's putting cash in his pocket.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I did put a note down about the webinar that you talked about. I mean, that is something I certainly would be interested in doing. So, what is your thought on that?
Well, you know what, like, it's like anything else. I think this is one of the, I've done webinars where I've put it out there on social media, and like you could target people specifically, and I'll target on Facebook and Instagram or LinkedIn, who my target audience is, and you invite them to come to a free webinar. And what I've done, I'm just giving you my information. I've never done it as a bike shop, but I think I told you guys last week I had this kind of, call it an epiphany in the middle of the night, kind of like a dream, and I'm like, man, why wouldn't a Pedego store do this? And so the way I do it is I'll target a specific audience, and whether it's on my email list, because you could use your existing email list. And just like I had mentioned to you for your recent event on the weekend, I've taken an old email list, and I'm talking like old, like I'm talking like AOL account, right? Where I had a shit ton of emails that are like, decades old. Like, I mean, Joe Marcoux at AOL.com. When I tell people I still have that email address, people go, AOL? Really? Are they still around? But
we get a few of them.
I still have that account. That's hysterical in and of itself. I mean, it's older than the hills. But I've taken that email list, and I've emailed people on that list, and a lot of them bounce back. I use a tool called GMass, and I might have paid like $100 to be able to send out the whole list, a sequence of emails. I think about 5 or 6 times over the course of 2 weeks. Of that old list, my first webinar that I did specifically on the sales objection system workshop, I had 44 people sign up out of, might have been a list of 1,000 people. And 44 people, like, let me rephrase. I had about 100 people sign up, but 44 people showed up live on the first ever webinar. And from the 44 people, I had people buy into the SOS Dojo, and like right then and there. Those metrics for me were like, okay, that was worth it. Then the question becomes, how do I get out on Facebook, get people to sign into a landing page to come into the webinar? And so for me, if I'm you guys, that the cool thing about a webinar is you don't have to necessarily target your geographical area. You can target the whole web and become the authority on the 7, make up a list, the 7 biggest mistakes people make when buying an e-bike and how to avoid them. And that's your webinar, right? Because there's going to be people that are going to want to know what those mistakes are, and you come up with them, right? It could be, and one of the big ones is not test riding long enough. Like the mini spin is just, for us, is just a way for us to be able to get butts on bikes and get people's names. But the real thing is, and this is one of the tricks that I've learned from a couple of other Pedego stores, and I love it, is when somebody says, "Oh, I've test ridden other bikes," it's like you want to make sure that you've gone for a ride for at least 15 minutes if you're going to spend a few $1,000s.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's one thing for us to be able to say, "Hey, you know what? Just for fun, come with me and get a little taste." It's like the bowl of M&Ms, and all I give you is one. I mean, let's face it. If you want really experience it, you know, go for a long ride. So yeah, I mean, I could set you up with the right people. I hire, you know, the freedom marketing coach or a couple, you know, either Isaac Lara or a guy by the name of Daniel Lamb to create the copy and a funnel. Like I just know once I get people onto the live webinar and I do a PowerPoint, kind of like what we've done here, where once I get you on Zoom, I can share my screen as an example, like I'm doing right now, and then I would turn on PowerPoint, and then I would go like this, you know, and hear a good phone, and you know, discuss it with people, and then at the end have a call to action. Right? I could do that part, but like I hire people out to help me get names into a list so I can do email and everything else, because that's the goal. So with you guys, I think your target market is going to be primarily Facebook, a little bit of Instagram, and I think you'd be surprised. LinkedIn, I still think, is a great source.
Yeah, we got a page. We have a page now.
Yeah. So with LinkedIn, I mean, you know, if you do it right, no reason why you couldn't have those people say, yeah, I'm curious. I'm gonna check it out and invite people to come to a free 30-minute webinar. And then at the end of the webinar, I think you get people's names into the webinar, you got their email address, so you throw them all into your lead cycles follow-up system anyways. That's a no-brainer. But then anybody who comes to your webinar, you make them an attractive offer to now that they're here, now you want them, you know, in the store. And the goal would be either A, you could buy here online now, but I think realistically it's here are the 7 biggest mistakes people make, and then come into the store and make them an attractive offer that, you know, like a free rental plus if you buy and you mention this and bring in this code, you'll get a free, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if I'm going to be doing what you're doing, and I'm just want to, again, I'm going to share my screen here, guys. Because legitimately, if I go to Google Map, and I you know, how far do you actually want to grab from? And if you're hearing noise in the background, I'm actually at my cabin instead of my. So that is a loon in the background if you're hearing it.
Always nice to hear the sound of a loon. You're gonna hear.
Yeah.
You're gonna fear a few more loons today.
Yeah, the question is, how much alcohol have these loons had this early?
Not enough.
But I'm just looking at, yeah, and my internet connection is a little on the slow side here, but I'm just throwing your store into Google Map, and I think that you know, like, who's your nearest store from you? Spring Lake?
Long Beach Island, probably hour and change away.
Okay, so you know, if you geo-target your area, as I'm bringing up this slow-moving Google Map here, I think that, and again, this is you know, I'm working for you guys. So if there's, you know, Cape Cod, who's not that far away, or and again, I'm looking at this, and you could literally pull from a 2 to maybe 3 hour radius from where you are. Like, you know, realistically, you'll be able to pull from Alec, hell, I mean, if you give somebody an attractive enough reason, they'll come and visit you, right? It's just a question of what would you offer. If you said, hey, if you buy a Pedego from us, you come in and you test ride a Pedego, or you rent a Pedego from us, you could provide a pair of Senna helmets, for example.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at this map right now, and I just put in Pedego Cape May, and so here's where you guys are. Then Alexandria is here on the map, and then obviously New York City. I mean, and like there isn't a Pedego store in New York proper, is there?
No.
So
Not that we're aware of.
Yeah, and that's New York City is quickly becoming a hotbed for e-bikes. So, anyways, I just figure, if you're going to do, again, you could target where you guys are in this neck of woods, and if I just search this area here, I mean, I could get you in touch with a couple of guys that could really help you, crush this as far as, let me get Pedego in this neck of the woods here. Yeah, okay, so you got Seabright, Spring Lake, Long Beach, Ocean City. And it's interesting, by the way. I spoke Pedego, Ocean City yesterday, and I mean, he had requested sales training, and now he's saying, well, he wants to. It was bizarre. He wants to improve his sales before he takes sales training. You realize that that's like putting the chicken before the egg.
How did they say they're doing?
They weren't. I'm just gonna give you what I picked up based on his tone of voice and everything. Didn't sound like he was doing that great. Now I might be wrong on that, but yeah, I think that he was expecting. I know he says his tourism travel is way down, and that's affecting his overall traffic. So if your traffic is low, that's going to affect your overall metrics, right?
Sure.
So
but it's
I'm going to follow.
Slow everywhere. That's not like.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at travel and traffic and all that thing, that's definitely going to affect you guys. There's no doubt. Have you been maintaining your metrics and going over the, like looking at your closing ratio and your butts on bikes ratio since we started?
I would say no, not really. I don't. We have not. Metrics is not something that we have really gotten into. And to be honest with you, Joe, like no, there's a lot of moving pieces right now. I know for me,
I know it.
Who would probably be doing most of the metric work. I am still knee deep in this POS system, which is been very much a challenge to me because I've never done it before.
Yeah.
And
what are you using?
QuickBooks.
Okay. Yeah.
And we do have a good support with that from a company called Modern Secretary, but rarely does a day go by that I'm not faced with a challenge that I'm not used to when it comes to the POS.
That's fair.
So that certainly is a challenge. The communication with Pedego regarding mechanics, parts, and supplies, that's very much a new experience. And we have and I'm sure Pat would agree with this. I'm in the store pretty much every day. Pat's here a couple days. Rich Spizzato's here a couple days. Scott's here a couple days. So we don't really have a consistent pattern. So some days I'm working with Pat, some days Pat's working with Scott, and everybody has a little bit of their own style. And I think we've been focused on other things. Like, I do think the waiver thing has been very, very helpful.
For sure.
But one thing, and we've been talking to Shauna about this, we do way too much. Our efficiency and the way our process is just very cumbersome right now. And like filling out the rental waiver and then entering it into POS. I mean, literally, if we could have people sitting in front of this counter for 15 minutes, it's mind-boggling. So we're working on trying to come up with it. And to be honest with you, and I did this last night because I sent an email out to all the buyers of bikes because we got in some bike racks. So I sent an email out to all the buyers.
Nice.
Thank you. Just want to thank everybody again. Some of you inquired about bike racks. I got 5 emails back. They were the wrong email. And honestly, because we have people fill out the rental waiver form, and that's what we use to enter the stuff. And I can't.
Yeah, it's hard to read it.
But I'm not going to have them. I'm not going to go ahead and enter that stuff into your rental waiver form. And then, well, what I'm doing right now is I'm having them fill it out. I'm using that to enter into the POS, and then I'm going back and completing your rental waiver form. So
Right.
I'm spending. We need to come up with a system. We have to come up with a system where a customer comes in to rent, and we say, please sign in here. And they go ahead and they type the information in, and it gets exported to Lead Cycles, and it gets exported to QuickBooks, because it's just paperwork all over the place. It's ridiculous. It's just bad.
The alternative, and again, I'm not the person to ask. The people to ask are Shauna and or Chris.
Yeah.
But the alternative would be, you get them to fill out the digital form. That automatically, I know for a fact, goes to your Lead Cycles back office, which at that point, even if you just had to, wait till the end of the day and then, you go export from, all at once, but I'm not the guy. I mean, I know what my strengths are, and I know what,
Right.
It's like anything else, Rich. It's easy. The thing that you don't want to get caught up in is trying to know and do it all. Part of my French, but you know what? You don't want to fuck around with that too much, because then you end up working in it too much, as opposed to doing the things that are going to help you move the needle to make money.
Completely agree. And that's part of the reason that we have to. I mean, I get your point. Somebody comes in and says, I say, oh yeah, and I get your rental waiver form up, and I say, what's your name? Billy Smith. Okay, Billy, what's your email address? And I fill all that stuff and I send it to you. Now I got to go into the POS system. You think I remember what his email address is? I'm going to ask him again. You repeat.
Right. And then what we could, the answer to that though, on the short term, is we could definitely have it so that once you've entered it, it could send you a lead notification right to your own email.
I know. I got to go to my email.
Well, again,
and then I got
I'm not. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. You want to be able to have it so that it integrates. Chris would know how to make that work.
You talked to Chris yesterday, so he's going to get back to us.
Okay.
This is the kind of stuff that we have to improve. There's certain steps that we have to improve operationally to give us the opportunity to do. I think we're asking the right questions. I think we're taking the right approach. I think we're doing the right things, but from a metric standpoint, we're not measuring.
So it's funny. I mean, right here on the handy dandy board, I've got the word template. So you already have, your 3 questions when somebody comes in the store. You acknowledge them. You just pull out the clicker. Go on to Amazon and buy. We
have clickers.
Yeah. So click, count apps. I don't care if it's a UPS guy. It counts as somebody in the door. And just count the number of people, and then use your daily metrics tracker, and just you're asking the question and get a couple clipboards. I mean, if I'm walking around and I'm like this and I'm asking people questions, nobody's gonna go. And even if they do ask, hey, what are you writing down there? It's like, hey, you know what? We're a new business, or we've been in business for 10 years. It doesn't matter. And I want to know how you got here, so that I find out what's working and what's not, because it's profit dollars that help drive traffic into the store.
Right.
And that's just a quick, and it's the quick and dirty measurements. Later on, when you start doing Facebook ads, like really, looking at your advertising online, you can go, okay, what's my cost per click? And that's where it gets really interesting. But like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Start with the basics. Butts on bike, like number of people in the store, did they test ride? How did they hear about you? Like once that starts getting measured, then you know what your closing ratio is. And the cool thing is you already have a systemized approach in terms of first time in the store, how'd you hear about us? You ever ride a Pedego before? And then who's it for? Who else going to use it? How are you going to use it? Where are you going to ride it? How long's your typical ride? Are you planning on riding alone or in a group? Are there any physical or health issues that I need to know about? Ankles, knees, hips, spine, heart, or lung? And then that is your core basics.
And I think for the most part, we are covering those core basics. I still think it is, to me, our biggest challenge is getting people to take test rides. Do you agree with that, Pat?
Getting what?
Get people on the bikes to take a ride.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. There's a lot of people who come in, not right now.
Not right now.
Not interested, but
we'll come back.
Definitely get that.
So there's two things that come to mind. First thing is, I'm a big proponent of the, hey, you know what, just for fun, come with me. And they go, oh, not right now. No sweat. I'm going anyways. I want you to watch. And I go out. And then, you're not gonna get everybody. And even if they're like, nah, whatever, then you could say, hey, well, do you want to enter our monthly draw?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
And at least you get their email address and you throw it in bleed cycles for because you want to do follow-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like the approach of I'm going to do it anyway because this is the best part of my day anyway, hopping on these bikes.
I like that. That's great. And it should be, right?
Yeah.
I think we do. I think we do that pretty well. I mean, Pat and I were talking a little bit yesterday, and I think I told you the story, Joe. But I remember when I was having these initial conversations with Don, with Cynthia, and then Don, and I was asking a million questions.
Sure.
And and then Don basically stopped me and said, "You know what? I'm really not going to talk to you anymore." I mean, he wasn't like he didn't, but he's like, until you buy a bike, there's really there's no sense for you and I to have any more conversations. And like, I almost feel like we have had some real time suckers in here, and they come here and they just suck. They suck time, and they suck the life out of you, because at the end of it, you're like, "Dude, fucking Christ."
Have we talked about dealing with time vampires yet?
I don't think so, but we have. I don't know what it is about us. I mean, I think because we ask a lot of questions. I think we're good conversationalists. We are very engaging. I think some people like, do they have anybody to talk to at home? Because they come here and it's just like, are you staying for a meal? Because.
So I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to give you the dealing with time, because dealing with time vampires is actually on our agenda for today. So I'll just cut to the chase and I'll talk to you about it right now.
Fire away, because that is very frustrating.
Yeah, and you got to remember, like your typical customer, when I look back at our notes about who your customer is, right? You're 55 plus, they've got health issues, and sometimes it's one thing when if you target in on what's important to them, and you go, hey, how did you hurt your knee, or what's up with the hip? And then they go, oh, well, back in, and oh my God, they start talking about this for like, it's like, hey, I don't have time for this shit. So some of the top retailers in the business that I've met, and again, there's their way, and then there's my way, and then you can choose your way. Okay. Have you guys heard of Crazy Lenny?
No.
Okay, so Crazy Lenny's e-bikes out in Madison, Wisconsin. Len Mattioli is 78 years old. you got to remember, after the age of 70, the rules don't apply for a lot of people, right? The rules change. So, you know, like my dad's 78. Like, freaking rules are gone. He says whatever the hell he wants, and he gets away with murder. And I would say that shit, and I'd be in jail. Anyways, one of the things but Crazy Lenny's been in the e-bike business for a decade, and before that, Crazy Lenny was in the furniture and appliance business. And I'm telling you all this because he's been around. He's been in retail for almost 50 years. Like, so he knows how to sell. And the way I've seen him deal with time vampires is he gives a time limit to people. If you haven't bought within, if his sense is, if you're not buying within 20 minutes, or he doesn't believe you're going to buy within 20 minutes, he will flat out say, and this is, again, there's a portion of it that I like, and there's a portion where it might be a little abrasive, but it's your call. I'll give you his version and my version. His version is, hey, you know what, Rich? My sense is you're not buying today, and that's totally okay. When you're ready, come back and see us, because I've got other people here that they might buy today, and I've got to help them out. And he just like, see ya, right? And that you just got to put a stop to it. What I add is, and in both cases, by the way, whether it's Len or it's my case, whenever I've personally said, hey, you know what, I don't think you're going to be buying today, that's my sense, and that's totally okay. But there's people here that might be buying today, and that's our job, is I got to go help these folks out. However, because you're asking me a lot of questions, let me pull out my calendar and let me set up a time later in the week. Because if you're here on a Saturday, like you just said, I don't have fucking time for you wasting my time. I got other people to help. So let me pull out the calendar, and why don't we set up a time when you come in during the week where it's quieter. And this is the other thing that you can say. It's like, listen, I got bikes that I got to fix right now, because if I know you're a prospect, but I got customers that are waiting for me to fix these bikes. And if they show up and their bikes aren't ready, I'm going to be in deep shit. So like, are you buying today, or did you want to come back another time? And that's where you get to pull out the calendar. So the couple things that happen when you get that, you know what, Rich, my sense is you're not buying today, and that's all right, but I've got to help these other folks out, or I got to get back to work here doing this stuff. About half the time, you'll get that person going, no, I'm buying. Then you get to just, hey, cut to the chase. Let's go. We got to get this. We got to get moving here. We got to get on the bike and start rolling. So what are we doing? And just ask, because
I wasn't sure what, to be honest with you. That's kind of what, and that's the way and way with Don. I'm like, and I say I got to buy a bike. I have to, I have to buy a bike, because I'm not going to know what Pedego is all about. So I get that sense, like, if you're not going to ride it, like.
Oh no. Yeah. Rich, if they're not putting their ass on the saddle, there is no amount of conversation that you're going to have that's going to close the freaking deal.
And that's what,
like, I mean, statistically.
Like, you know what? I get it. I understand you don't want to ride a bike, but until you ride a bike, our conversations are kind of going to be pointless.
Exactly.
And is that okay being that direct and say,
yes,
listen, I'll try to answer as many of your questions, but all the questions I can answer, all the information you need, so many of it's going to be answered by riding the bike. And if you don't ride the bike, we're just going to be wasting a lot of time.
Yep. I think you're absolutely allowed to say it.
I mean, there was a guy, I mean, he wound up buying, but he was here 3 hours on Friday, 2 more hours on Saturday.
Yeah.
Called later on Saturday, called again on Sunday. I mean, he is buying, but oh God.
Did he buy? He did buy.
He actually bought, but I also think that we could have closed that deal a lot further by saying, hey, Frank, like, by the way, he did ride a bike. He rode like 11 bikes, for Christ's sake. I mean,
sure. And there's some people that are going to be like that. I mean, but if he's riding, that's one thing. If somebody is refusing to ride and they still want to be like asking questions, and you're like, dude, if you're not going to ride, how the hell are you actually going to know how the bike feels, how it fits, and how it reacts? So you got to cut to the chase and say, you know what, my sense is you're not buying today, and that's all right. I got to go and do this, or I got to help these other folks because they might be wanting to test ride, and that's what we do here. We want people to experience it. So until you're ready to experience it, I can't answer any more questions because the proof is in the pudding.
Okay.
You got to put in the time to ride, and that's it.
Okay. Well, that's kind of what I was hoping you would say, but I wasn't sure what you would say.
Yeah, and Rich, you have my permission, in other words, to do it. And don't listen. There's going to be there's a percentage of people that yes, they need time, but there's also a percentage of people that will just suck the life out of you, and it doesn't matter what you say until they get their asses on the bike, they're not buying. So save yourself a lot of headache. And I think the way that Don presented it to you is exactly the same thing. It's like, listen, until you get on the bike, you're not going to know.
Right, and that's what it was. He's like,
Yeah.
I'll talk to him blue in the face, but you have to ride it, and then you'll understand what I'm trying to tell you.
And use your
by the way,
calendar.
and he was dead on. But I had no idea what to expect, and then I wrote it, and I'm like.
And I think that everybody in your team should use that as kind of like a measuring stick, and you can tell them, hey guys, like everybody should say, you know, I like the 20-minute barrier. Within 20 minutes, if somebody's telling me that they're still not getting on the bike, but I've got other people or I've got other shit to do, it's like, listen, I got stuff to do here. My sense is you're not buying a bike today, and that's okay. So here's the deal. I've got stuff to do, and especially on a weekend, let's pull out the calendar. What day during the week, and again, keeping no off the table. Like if they're for real, they'll book an appointment, right? I mean, I've had this happen in a store where it was like, yeah, I'm here, I'm looking for my wife, and it's like, okay, so you're not even going to get on the bike, and it's for her. She needs to get on the bike, so let's save ourselves a whole ton of time. You could get him to test ride till he's blue in the face. It's for her. She's going to be so don't spend 2 hours with that guy. Go, hey, you know what, Mr. Prospect, and whose wife is going to be the final decision maker for her bike. Why don't we set up a time right now? What's good, Wednesday or Thursday? And keep no off the table. Book the frickin' appointment and go, okay, great. If you want to hang around and listen to other conversations we're having, feel free, because ultimately, until she gets on the bike, it really won't matter. And you're saving yourself some time. Leverage your time. The time vampire, oh my God, I'm with you. That's why that approach has worked really well.
Okay, that's good. That's very, very, very helpful.
And you guys can pick like how, again, Crazy Lenny, who by the way they were a Pedego dealer. Don actually cut him off because he's a notorious discounter, and but he's also like one of like the highest volume retail e-bike stores in the nation. But he was following the Pedego rules as because he was a Pedego dealer before Pedego even had retail stores. And ultimately what ended up happening was he would attract people to call the store. And part of his shtick that he told me was, Joe, if somebody calls the store, they might as well be in the store. And I agree with that. Like if you're going to call the store, if he can close you on the phone, he's going to close you. The problem is that he was discounting the crap out of the bikes. Like he'll sell, his approach is, hey man, if I make $200 out of Cape May, New Jersey, and my store is in Madison, Wisconsin, and I ship the bike, it's $200 that I would have never got. Right. And
yeah, I mean, I guess it's if inventory wasn't, I get that a little bit, but I mean, obviously you couldn't do that now, but
no, yeah, but like he would rather make $100 on a bike that he'd sell it literally at $100 over cost and ship it and wash his hands, as opposed to you guys aren't going to you guys are going to make money. And Pedego, the way that Don wants it is he wants to be able to have MSRP is MAP, and everybody's selling it at the same price. Now, here's where you guys get to play a little bit on that. you can sell bikes at full price. But again, if you're doing a webinar or anybody on your list, like it's the email marketing and webinar marketing is not marketing to everybody on the internet. Once you've got people in your ecosystem, you can sell product for whatever you want. So you could still sell the bike at full price, but if you're throwing stuff in as added stacking value, that's what's going to separate you from the other Pedego stores.
Right.
You just got to figure out, what are you going to stack? Is it accessories? Is it free tours that you guys are doing? And there's value to the tour, but again, your cost on a tour is, peanuts, especially if they're bringing their own bikes. Is there anybody else coming on the call?
I guess not.
Okay, no sweat.
I mean, you got the two most important people, so that's
You heard it here, because this is being recorded. So there it is. All right, so part of today, what I wanted to go over with you guys is Give Good Phone. This is something that the phone is just as important as having people walk in. And I give credit where credit is due. I know we didn't go over this last call because we really pushed the SOS on the last call. And you guys are pretty comfortable with handling objections at this point?
Yeah, I think
Good.
I think we're pretty.
We got a lot of the cheater bikes has that objection system has worked very well.
Nice.
When they say it's cheating.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, agreed.
Right on. Have you guys got those the links to the articles and the articles that I sent, as well as that e-mountain bike versus regular mountain bike? You should print that up and put it up. Great.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that stuff made in the signs. We did get the service rate sign.
Nice.
Made last week, and that's up and hanging. And
that's great, man. There's service rates. Did you get the map delivery sign?
What's that?
Did you do the one with the map where you have that
Pat's gonna work on that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we'll have that by the end of the week.
Sweet. All that stuff, once you have it, it's just going to help create more value, right? Yeah, we'll deliver it for you. It's usually $300. But if you do it now, I'll throw it in, right? Meanwhile, you're already ready to do it, but it just adds value, right? So let's go in and Give Good Phone here.
Yep.
I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and I'll just jump right in. All right. I give credit where credit is due on this. My sister, actually, years back, I was in Ottawa, and she works for the Canadian federal government, and she got off a phone call at home, and she goes, "Oh my God, that guy gives good phone." And I just cracked up. I said, "I got to use that." And that's where I didn't make up this term, but you don't hear, give good phone too often. And I just think it's hysterical. Ultimately, guys, what matters is when somebody does give you a call, it's as if they're in the store, and you want to be able to turn your prospects into buyers using phone skills.
Okay.
And it's the same thing, right? Who's calling you? You already know your demographic, but you want to find out when somebody calls using you already got your template. So, you got to ask the first three questions, and keep in mind, you're going to get that customer calling you. And typically, what are they going to ask? How much do your bikes sell for? Or what does an e-bike cost? Or what do your bikes start at? You got to head them off at the pass and go, hey, you know what? That's a great question. Everybody asks us that. I got to ask you first, is this your first time calling the store? So it's like, when they're in the store, is it your first time here? If they're calling the store, you got to ask, is it the first time calling? It's a yes or no. Okay. So how did you hear about us? Every time somebody phones, you got to ask that magic question, because that's a marketing dollar question. How'd you hear about us? And then write it down. And then the third question you ask is, have you ever ridden a Pedego before? They're going to tell you probably no. If the answer is no, again, they're not there, so you can't do a test ride. What you got to do is you book the test ride. So you go, Rich, it's a time vampire thing. You don't want to spend 45 minutes on a phone call. It's going to be useless. So it's your first time calling the store? Yeah, it is. Okay, so how'd you hear about us? Oh, I Googled you guys. Oh, okay. So what were your search words? I put in electric bikes. Okay, well, what area of the world do you live in? I live here, but near Cape May. Okay, whatever. Okay, great. And so have you ever ridden a Pedego before? No, I haven't. You haven't? Oh, okay. Well, listen, we got to set up a time where you got to come in. No matter what we talk about today, I mean, until you ride one, right? And we know this. This is actual fact. Until you ride one, we're going to be blown air, and we're not be able to really get you the experience. So what's a good time for you this week for you to come in? And don't say, would you like to book an appointment? That is not the right thing to say. As a salesperson, you are going to take no off the table, and you're going to say, we're Tuesday morning, so you go, all right, so are you free later today, or are you open Wednesday or Thursday? Like it's basically like if I'm giving you choices, it's either or. And what time is good for you, 1 or 2? And then you pull out your calendar and you book them. Because otherwise, you're going to be, the windbag is going to keep you on the damn phone for hours, and you're not going to accomplish shit. So that's part of giving good phone. So count the number of phone calls that you get in. No different than counting the number of people that walk in. Measure these metrics, and it's very simple, but just clicker, whether it's a clicker for the number of people that walk in the door and clicker for the amount of people that call, measure it. And then why are they calling you? Because you guys are experts, you have the advice, and you're speeding up their research. But really, the idea as a Pedego store is to speed up the research is butts on bikes. That's how you speed it all up, like, to the finish line. Otherwise, just like we said earlier, it's a waste of time. So they're going to ask you, how much is it in stock and when can I get it? That's what they're asking you. You got to ask, first time calling, how'd you hear about us? You ever ride one? When are you coming in? So I'll play around with people when they call. So what do you start at? Right? That classic. And I'll go, we'll start at 0. And it's like, what? Yeah, they start at 0. Then when you start pedaling, it goes like half a mile and then 1 and then 2. And the faster you pedal, the higher no, the price. And it's like, oh, the price. Well, and then it's like, let me ask you a few questions. And I go right back to, this is your first time calling the store? How'd you hear about it? You ever ride one? And it's like, listen, we'll banter a little bit here. What's your name, sir? Oh, my name's Rich. Okay, Rich, my name's Joe. Listen, I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes here, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to save us both a lot of time. All right? Because ultimately, until you get on one of these, there's no amount of conversation that we're going to have that's going to really help you decide which one's going to be appropriate for you. So let me ask you a few questions. Go back to your template. Who's it for? Who else is going to use it? How are you going to use it? Where are you going to ride? All of that. Go through all of it. And then based on what you told me, Rich, I've got 2 or 3 bikes that you have to absolutely come in. But I think based on what you said, I'm going to get you on a Black Edition, regular city, maybe a Boomerang, but I got to see you. All right, so when are you coming in? And come right back to that. Because you can talk, and then of course they're going to come back to, but how much? How much? And when I just did this in the SOS duo last week with my top groups. In the middle of I'm going to turn the screen off so you guys can see me, and I'll come back to it. I was at a trade show, and again, the idea behind Army of One sales training is you got to have this. You got to have a template so that you have a systemized approach so that you can, if you veer off your template and you start shooting the shit about your favorite football team or, oh, you've got dogs, so do I, and you start, whatever, you can, okay, where was I on my list of questions? Go back to your template and you're back on task. So I'm at a trade show, and this is like years back when I was selling exercise equipment, and I was selling this home gym, and instead of doing one demo at a time, I would wait till there was a crowd, and then I would do one demo, but I would sell multiple of these gyms. I'm doing this demo once, and a guy's walking past, and I shit you not, I must have had about 50 people in front of me in my booth, and they're all watching me and talking, and I had a microphone, and I'm doing this thing, and a guy walks past and goes, "How much?" Like, just complete interrupts me, and I turned around and I said, $12.95. The second I said the price, 30 out of 50 people effed off. They just left. So what ended up happening was I was like, because I wasn't able to continue to build the value. Like, they just left. So the second that you mention the price and you haven't built up enough value, it's game over, because somebody can go online and find a cheaper bike. So on the phone, when somebody says how much, your answer is, it depends. Because it does. It depends. Who's it for? How are you going to use it? Are you looking for, like, you could say, listen, is it new? Is it pre-loved? Is it, like, it depends. I got to get you in here to try it.
To never give them the price.
I wouldn't give, when push comes to shove, give them your price range. But don't give them like, if you only say, if you said it's $39.95, they're thinking $4,000.
Yeah.
So you gotta go, where do your bikes start at? I always say zero. It's zero. I catch them off guard. Then it's, have you tried one? Let's book an appointment. Okay, but where do you, and then they'll say, okay, I'm booking the appointment, but what's the price range? Then if you've got bikes in your rental fleet right now, Rich, you've got to have at least one that you got to be prepared to sell as a pre-loved, even now.
We have been that's one thing I think we've been doing a great job of as being creative.
Yeah.
Being creative with our rental fleet. Yeah.
The goal on the phone is, unless they're ready to buy and they're hot to trot and maybe they've done some research, and keep in mind, you're going to encounter this. So where are you calling from? And they might be, they're calling from another area, and then they say, have you ever ridden a Pedego before? I have. Whereabouts? I was down in Florida. I tried one. I loved it. Okay. So if you're hot to trot and you're ready to buy, then obviously you can go through who's it for, who else going to use it, and how you're going to use it, where you're going to ride it, and go through all of that. And you can even ask, so is there a specific model that you have in mind? Because if they were saying, hey, I want to get, I don't know, do you have any Platinum Interceptors in stock? If they're asking if it's in stock, then it's like, okay, are you interested in purchasing one right now, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect on the phone? If that's the answer, then close them. Because if they're not buying from you, they're going to buy off another Pedego store. Like, that's just the reality of it. So, like, if you have the opportunity to close on the phone, do it. Like, you got to. Because otherwise, if they're going on this, or they're going on their computer, and they may as well just buy it, direct from corporate. Yeah. And I know that corporate will drop ship and give you the credit, but you still make more money when you make the sale direct. Plus, you'll sell the accessories to go with it.
To be honest with you, Joe, I'd say I could count on one hand how many people have inquired about sales from the phone.
Oh yeah, it's early, man. I mean, you've been open, what? How many weeks now? 8?
5.
But yeah, you'll see. It'll happen.
Okay.
You're going to start getting calls. Like, there's some people, this is the unfortunate reality, there's some people that'll be in California, and they're going to call you. And they're curious, can you give me a deal over the phone? And then it's up, like, I'm not going to say that you should or shouldn't sell it. It's up to you. I mean, you know that if somebody's calling you from California, there's no way on God's green earth that you're going to be doing service.
Right.
So now how are they do? Like, what are you going to do? And it leads me to ask, if somebody's calling me from California, it's going to be rare, but if somebody calls you, because they're going to go to the dealer locator, there's some a-holes that are going to do that. They're purely just going to see what the best price is.
Right.
So it's like, okay, why are you calling? Like, and I would ask, hey, I'm curious, because you want to save yourself a shit ton of time. Why are you calling here when you live in California?
Right.
Like, where are you? how important is service to you? Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Let me ask you a question, Joe.
Go for it.
In regards to the phone, when most of the people who are calling in are asking about rentals, should we be trying to find out how they heard about us? I'm assuming yes. I'm trying to think of how it is that we go about that. Is it the same way? Do you guys rent bikes? And so you just kind of go back to the template, right?
Yeah, right away. So I would role play that out. So go ahead and ask me. I can ask it. Good morning, Pedego Cape May. It's Joe speaking. Go ahead, ask me, Pat.
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys rent bikes?
Yeah, we absolutely do. Hey, quick questions. Is this your first time calling the store?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, right on. Have you ever? So how did you hear about us?
I Googled.
Okay, cool. What were your search words?
What was that now?
What were your search words that you used to Google us?
Yeah. You're breaking up. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. And I would ask how they, like I said, how did you hear about us? What were your search words? And then I would ask, have you ever rented a Pedego before or ridden a Pedego before? And then
No, I never have.
Oh, right on. Well, let's. When are you going to rent bikes?
We're down for the week and we're just looking for something to do.
Well, excellent. You know what? We set up a time for you to come in and test ride them first, and you can try them out real quick for free, and if you love them, which you will, we'll get you set up for a rental. I'm cutting to the chase. Do you rent bikes? It's not just go right to. It's not even about price, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the word in free, and free is what's going to get you in to try it. Then you're going to rent. You know, the moment that somebody tries it and then they laugh and they have a fun, they're going to rent it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So use the same approach. It's
okay.
And you notice that when I'm asking you a question, I took control of the conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
That's exactly what you're going to do as a salesperson.
I have another question, which is in regards to these time vampires, because you had brought up, the person who you get into the conversation about, you have any health issues? Yeah, I got knee replacement. Oh yeah, that kind of thing. Rich and I had a conversation yesterday. And this past Friday, I went around to the various bike stores in our area.
Nice.
Check them out, see what they were doing. And, there's one store that's selling Treks, and they definitely have a supply. There's a few others who are sort of dabbling in electric bikes.
Yeah.
And I said to Rich, it won't be long before everybody's selling electric bikes.
For sure. You're absolutely right.
To a greater degree. And so then the question's going to be, why? Why are they going to choose Pedego? And, it's not that, as you say, it's not the what, it's the why. And so the customer experience that we are trying to offer does include, I think, that we are, genuinely good guys who really are, we take interest in people, and we really do want them to feel like they're part of the family. And I don't think you get there after you make the sale. You can't make the sale and then be like, oh, tell me about your family type of thing.
No, you got to do it ahead of time.
What's that?
Yeah,
you have to ahead of time. So there is go ahead.
No, the reason I get what you're saying, but I think I completely agree with that. But I do think you got to figure out, like, I think you can tell when a person is engaged, is serious, and somebody who's like just kind of.
Here's the difference, guys. Even the basic template, right? When you use this template, it comes back to people don't care about how much you know until they know about how much you care.
Agree with that.
And I think that's the point. You could show somebody that you care about them in 20 minutes or less. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to spend more time with them if they've gotten on a bike and if they've gotten on the bike immediately and they're definitely serious enough that they're showing curiosity. Yeah, you're gonna. And the other thing, and this is also part of Army of One, is that you can deal with multiple people at the same time, which is the whole point of putting all of this together. You don't have to just deal with one customer at a time. You can still show you care about somebody by asking them, so hey, so like this is why I like to ask that last question, which you will not find in most bike shops. I can tell you 99% of regular bike stores, they don't give a shit. They're just going to ask, hey, are you here to buy today? And, and then if you say I'm interested in an e-bike, that young staff person is going to say, oh, because they don't ride e-bikes. So this is why the Pedego experience and the buying experience that you're providing to your target customers, you're going to be able to ask questions in a very short period of time that you're going to be able to relate. But within 20 minutes, if they haven't gotten on a bike, you have to ask yourself, okay, how serious are these people? Like if they haven't gotten on the bike, they're probably not going to buy.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I've never I haven't come across a time suck person who has taken that much time if they're not going to take it. I know the one guy who had his spreadsheet was definitely a guy, but I haven't really seen a lot. But then again, I'm not in the store as much as Rich, so.
Right. Yeah, when you get that customer, and it's usually guys, they come in with a piece of paper and they're going, okay, I'm comparing your bike versus this bike versus this bike. I mean, you're comparing, like that becomes a race to the bottom because they're looking at spec versus spec. And what you need to do is you got to turn it into a relationship thing where they want to buy from you because they like you. Because that's what's going to
I totally agree.
That's what's going to separate the Pedego experience over the Trek dealer. And the Trek bikes aren't cheap anyways. I mean, they've got quality components. And by the way, kudos to you, man. I want to let you know you should be going to your competitors within your area at least once a month. Just go walk in, check pricing. What are they doing right? And if they're doing something well, then mimic it. If they're doing something wrong, good. Let them keep screwing up and just keep doing what you're doing, But you got to know what's up. Part of being a retailer is, it's no different than if you've seen those commercials for, whether it's Fountain Tire or Goodyear, and they have their competitors, ads up in the store so that they could, that they're playing the price game. We don't have to play the price game. We're going to play the service game and the quality game. And you're going to do that by asking these questions. Again, keep in mind, the template is simply there so that you could have a baseline. So when somebody says, yeah, when you go, so, how are you going to use it, or where are you going to ride it? I'm riding it to work. Well, you can ask if you've got time. Well, so where do you work? How long have you been working there? And that's going to help develop that relationship, especially, but you remember the way that I've shown you how to do it, you're only going to ask those questions after they've actually got the butt on the bike, because the first 3 questions are saving you time. First time in the store, how you hear about it? You ever ride a Pedego before? If they say no, hell yeah, let's go, just for fun. If they say no, that they're not riding, then after 15 to 20 minutes of a brief conversation, you can tell them, listen, my sense is you're not riding. If you're not going to ride and everything, my sense is you're not buying today, and that's okay. But these people here, like, just see ya. You got to go.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I hear you. I hear you, and I like the approach of the Don approach, which is we're done. It's not like we're done talking, but until you hop on, I can't explain it anymore. So,
in fact,
okay.
yeah, and in fact, if you want to leverage your time, and we'll finish up Give Good Phone, and I'm going to go back to the popcorn effect, because we can create that. And what I mean by that is when you get one person to pop, they all do. That's why I would rather you do one presentation to 50 people instead of 50 presentations to single people. I mean, shit, you're just going to create too much work. That's the beauty of having a template, is when you can create an event out of it. So I did this with this home gym. I learned real quick when somebody said, how much? And I said, the price, more than half the people dispersed, and I lost it, right? I still made a couple of sales. But when you have everybody stay to the end of a full presentation, and in the world of Pedego, it's a extended test ride so they can leave, and you set it up so that, hey, you know what, you should ride for 10 minutes, and then the next person you tell them you should ride for 5, and you get them both coming back at the same time, and you go to the first person, so what do you think, Rich? And Rich says, that was awesome. You cut to the chase, and you go, so do you want to take it? And Rich says, yeah. The other people that showed up at the same time, you look at them and you go, hey, Pat, I'll be right back because Rich just bought a bike. I just got to go set some things up, and then you leave. So I've done this. Like I told you, my record is 27 bikes in 4 hours. And I've shown other people how to do this, and I've had people do record. The best record I've heard of so far is 41 bikes in 4 hours. How do they do it? Exactly how I just said it. They got people to time it. So it's like, okay, I want you to ride, but listen, I'm busy right now. I want you to get out. Just go have fun. Don't come back for at least 20 minutes. I don't want you back here for 20 minutes. Get out of here. And they leave. The next people, you set it up, right? And it's like, I want you back here in 15 minutes. The next people, 12 minutes. The next people, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Just go around the block real quick. Then they all show up at the same time. And that's where you close. If you get one, then you go, tell you what, folks, I'll be back with all of you real quick. These folks right here are picking up a couple of bikes. I'll be right back with you. And you leave. What happens is you've just congratulated these people for making the right decision. It's like, Pat, congratulations. Welcome to the Pedego family. I'm going to be right back. Hey, everybody, Pat here is buying a bike. I'll be right back. I got to get something for Pat. You leave. Everybody's going to walk up to you, Pat, because they've all shown up on freaking bikes, and they're going to go, you're buying one? And now, Pat, you've just been told, hey, congratulations, because subconsciously I've just told you you made the right decision. When are you most excited? When you just decided to buy the bike. So what are you going to do, Pat? You're going to tell everybody else, oh, yeah, this is great. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get this bike home. You might have said, I've been here 2 or 3 times. And so the people that decide end up being salespeople. And I've had this happen where I've left, I've come back, and then I look at the rest of the crowd and I go, so what do you think, guys? You guys want to get one too? And often people just go, yeah, let's do this. Because the customer who's not a salesperson does the selling for you. And that's Army of One selling. Leverage your time. So does that make sense, guys?
Like, oh, yeah, but we're not it's not our traffic is sporadic.
Oh, for sure. I get it. And again, you're 5 weeks in. The goal and you're still going to have to, again, you're going to have the random people that are coming in. It's Saturday and you got somebody coming in, and then as you're showing somebody a bike, you look up and there's a couple other people. You go, hey, folks, be with you in a quick sec. Now you know I got to get these people out for their extended ride. All right, guys, I want you out of here. Go for a ride for 15 minutes. Now you go deal with these other people that just walked in. First time in the store, how'd you hear about us? You ever ride a Pedego before? Get them on the quick ride. Then you get them all their questions, and based on what you just told me, best, better, good, you get them out, but then you time it so that they show up right after the first people come back. So that you want to create that funnel of people showing up, because if you get one, I promise you, it'll be a domino effect. I call it the popcorn effect, but it's the same thing. And it's a riot because your customers are your best salespeople. They're a walking billboard. It's social proof. Don't take my word for it. These people just bought. And then you can say, so Pat, why did you buy this bike in front of these prospects? And Pat's going to say, oh, it's awesome, blah, 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 blah. Done. And you're not a pressure, like you take the foot off the gas. All you got to go is just look back at them and go, what do you think, guys? Let me save you a ton of time. They're doing it. You should too. Again, you might not get 27 or 41, but those days will come. Like in a year from now, Rich, when you have a huge list of people that are either prospects or buyers, and then you create an event. Like where I did the 27 bikes, it was at a retailer in California, and he put together a special event. So he had a list of prospects that were hot prospects, and we just created a popcorn effect in waves. I had basically 4 waves of, 4 bikes, 6 bikes, 4 bikes, 6 bikes type of thing. And then I had a couple of one-offs where in 4 hours I sold 27 bikes. It was a gong show. So that's how you're going to sell that kind of volume. I mean, I'd love to say that you're getting, that many people in the store, but like that was around an event.
Okay.
So, but you'll make it happen. All right, let me keep going with this good phone thing.
Makes sense.
No, it definitely makes sense.
Oh, and whether you have a special event or not, keep leveraging your time by using your template and just being aware of how many people are in the store right now, and then how much time. I mean, it's not uncommon for somebody to say, if the store is really busy and you're slow in the store, you give people a coupon for, hey, go for a ride, go buy yourself a coffee, come back in half an hour. Because then if you've got like 4 or 5 sets of couples, there's no, all of a sudden it's going to become a gong show. Go have a coffee, go for a test ride, go have a coffee, guys, take a couple of walks with you, come back, but then you make it so that they all come back at the same time. You get one to go, the probability becomes that everybody will go. And that just comes with, like, I'm giving you one of the best secrets I could ever give you. You just set it up so that when it's time to close, everybody shows up at the same time. That's the magic. And that's where everybody else screws up, guys, is that you're dealing with only one customer at a time, and then you're letting other people leave, or you're not, and don't worry about answering the phone. Your voicemail should say, hi, you've reached Pedego Cape May. If you call during business hours, because we're riding bikes with other people. So you better hurry up and get here while we're open so you can try our Pedego bikes too. If you're interested in setting up an appointment, we message and we'll call back as soon as we come from our rides. I mean, don't be so confused about, hey, I got to go answer the phone when a customer's live in the store. Anyways, giving good phone when you do have the time, they're going to ask, how much? Is it in stock? When can I get it? How much is, it depends. I always give them the price range, especially with your used bikes or pre-loved bikes. And well, how much? Well, they'll range anywhere from $11.95 or whatever you want to sell a comfort cruiser or used comfort cruiser or city commuter light, or all the way up to $54.95. But it also depends. Blah blah blah. We got to get you in to try it. So they're calling you because again, how much is it in stock, especially now? And what's the desired outcome from the call? Well, you don't want to just educate the caller, because the way to educate a caller is get them in the store, right? Like Rich, the best education for you, is we've talked at night already, is butts on bikes. Best way to inform somebody is get them in. You want to get the marketing data. You want to build a bit of a relationship on the phone. And if you've got the time, shoot the shit with them. Great. Laugh a little bit. But you want to book on the phone. You either want to book an appointment or you want to sell. Ultimately, those are the 2 things you want on the phone. You either book the appointment or you sell. And there's nothing there's nothing wrong with saying, again, this is up to you guys. I've said this before, where it's like, Pedego Cape May, this is Joe speaking. Yeah, how much do your bikes cost? And somebody starts time vampiring you on the phone, and they're going. You can say, listen, you know what? I'm actually just a clerk here. The person that you want to speak to is Pat, and he's out with a customer right now. Why don't I set up a time that you can come here and you can actually speak to Pat? When's a good time for you? You know, or just the service guy, and I'm just reaching on bikes and flats. The experts are busy right now because you don't want to spend an hour on the phone with people.
Right.
So it's like, listen, I just fix flats, you know, or come up with a reason to get off the line. Book the call, book the appointment, or are you buying? Like, and move on. The tools that you need by your phone, obviously pen, paper, calendar, and incoming call script, which you already have. You have a template. It's the same template. So have a clipboard when you're walking around the store. Take notes. We'll have a clipboard and leave it by the phone. First time calling, how'd you hear about our store? You ever ride a Pedego before? You haven't? Okay, let's book an appointment. So again, here are your top questions. And then if somebody, you know, is curious, this is where you could say, well, would you like to enter our free draw? What's your email address? And boom. Now you've got them in an automated email follow-up, which of course they can unsubscribe, but at least, hey, you know, make sure you check your email because we do the draw every month. So if you don't win this month, you could win in September. If you don't win in September, you could win in October. And they're going to constantly get emails from you on a weekly basis. And they're at least being reminded of who you are and what you have. But these questions here, first time calling the store, how'd you hear about us? Have you ever tried one of our Pedego bikes before? Well, when's the best time for us to set up a test ride? You know, Wednesday or Thursday? Keeping no off the table. And it's like, yeah, you know, I'm not really sure. Well, listen, you want to enter to win our free draw? We'd love to get you to win some money from us. And of course, the only way they can redeem is when they come in this. And then what's your sales voice? I'm all about high energy, guys. If it's, okay, man, it's Joe. As opposed to, you know, hey, hello, fun. This is Joe with Pedego Cape May. How can I be of service? Like, you got to have a minute. It's Pedego. Remember, communication is 7% words, 38% tone, and 55% body language. So get people, you know, got to get jazzed and have your script ready. Because when you're prepared, right, you know exactly what to say. If somebody takes you off topic, go, like I did with Pat, ask questions. You're gonna own the conversation. And then obviously you're taking payment over the phone. You're offering financing over the phone. And then what are you providing that others don't provide, right? Like, what are you doing on the, like I can tell you, Trek stores, you'll call a Trek dealer and it's, what do your bikes sell for? And they're going to say, well, you know, we got, like, or what do your electric bikes start at? They're going to say, well, it's $21.95 or $19.95 and up. And what you want to do is go back to your template and ask questions. Who else going to use it? How are you going to use it? Any health issues? Okay. You know what? Based on what you told me, we got to get you on a few different bikes here. I got 2 or 3. So Pat, let's set you up. Is 1:30 on Thursday a good time? And just nail it. And then ask for the appointment, ask for the sale. Like, you got to ask. If you don't ask for the appointment, they're never coming in. Yeah, I'm going to come in on the weekend. Now, if you're always busy on the weekends, guys, like if Saturday's a shit show and it's just too busy, there's nothing stopping you saying, hey, you know what? Saturdays are really crazy for us, and I want to spend a little bit more time with you, Pat. So would you be available to come in on a Friday? Because if you could spend a little bit more time with somebody, the odds are you'll close them, especially if they're committing to a test ride appointment. And then once you've gotten in, ask for referrals. If somebody has ridden a Pedego before and you've closed them on the phone, ask for referrals. So again, high energy, ask questions, have your script, take notes, micro close, get the appointment, make sure you book your test rides, ask them if they want to enter your draw, and then ask for the sale, ask for referrals. That's giving good phone.
I struggle with the referral part. That's always been a struggle for me because I feel like I'm being intrusive to the person that I am referring them to. Like if somebody, typically if somebody says, what kind of referral, I would say, you know what, I probably have a couple people, but I'd rather talk to them first.
Yeah, that's fair. This again, when somebody comes to the table and they say, hey, so what, even if you're closing the sale and whether they're grinding you or not, you could ask for, you know, like, because everything's negotiable. I would want to ask, hey, so you know, Rich, are you open if we did a video where I sent the video to you and you could send the video to your friends to refer them to me, right? So I'm not going to ask you for names, like, because I agree with you. Like if you said to me, hey, Joe, who do you know who that would be somebody who would love to come and test ride a Pedego? Like, I mean, I know several people, but then, you know, can I have their names and phone numbers? I'd be like, no. Because my friends would go, what the hell, Joe? What are you doing giving my contact info to these people?
Right.
But if you said, hey, man, listen, I'm going to do a video and I'm going to send it to your phone, and I'm just asking you if you could send it to your friends, I'd do it. That's the way to do it. So, or it's like, hey, listen, the other way is if you don't want to do a video, it's like, listen, Rich, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you an email because you just bought a bike from me. I'm going to send you an email and I'm just going to ask you to forward it over to your friends. But in the email, I'm going to make you look like a hero. I'm going to actually say to your friends that you're buying them a 2-hour rental. And we're going to invite your friends to come in. I'm going to give them, I'm giving it to them, but we're going to let them know that you're actually paying the treat so that they can come in and they can experience the ride that you just bought. And if you want, if they set up an appointment, maybe we could, in fact, that's the other option is, hey, Rich, you know, I'm not asking you for the names and phone numbers of your friends, but could we set up a time where I'm going to give you a couple of 2-hour rentals for free? So there's $40 and I'm going to give you, for them. So there's $160 worth of value, absolutely free. But I'd like to set up a time where I'm going to, buy a couple beers for you and your friends, and you guys could all go out in a group ride. Let's set up an appointment. That's another way around it. Where it's like,
yeah,
as opposed to, can you give me names and emails and phone numbers of people? Yeah, that's like creepy.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, but I can guarantee you, if somebody just bought the bike, right? They just bought it, and it's like, hey man, you got some friends of yours that you think they would dig riding like a Pedego bike like you just bought? Yeah, well, why don't I set it up so that I'd love for you to be a gang. So, hey, tell you what, I'm going to give you for free a couple of hours each per person. Let's get 4 people in, and the 5 of you can go out. And if you set this up, I'll also throw in a round. Yeah. I mean, totally worth it. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. That's a really good idea.
Birds of a feather flock together, so get them in. Let me go over my list here in terms of seeing what else we got. So we talked about SOS, closing. I just told you about creating the buying frenzy using the popcorn method. We talked about dealing with time vampires, giving good phone, social media hacks.
Social what?
Social media hacks. So it's like little tricks on. This will be for what? It's Caroline. Caroline's in charge of your social media, correct?
Yes.
One of the things that I'm going to recommend for Caroline is, and I don't think we've talked about this yet. Maybe we have, but I don't think so. And I'm just going over my notes with you guys here. Yeah, we talked about the torque sensor, cadence sensor. All right, so one of the things that she's going to have to do in social media land is called this is the trick. It's called a blunt post. If you're gonna put up stuff on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, that's all great. But the idea is on occasion, what you want to do is you want to be blunt in your post. So don't just, like you can keep posting photos of people that have bought bikes or people on bikes. And you know what people are going to do with that? They're just going to go swipe, swipe, swipe. But if you put a photo up and in the post and it's like, it's in your face where it says, looking for people 55 and over who want to exercise and have fun. Email here for free blank, like, for a free rental, and and you put a deadline, available only, by August 31st, or, we're the 25th. So yeah, it's like available only by August 30th. Well, you create a deadline and it's a blunt post. So now it's you can even put DM, which is direct message me to set up appointment. And then Caroline will be able to go back and forth. I do this online. I learned this from my coach. So I'll put stuff up of, results, and, a bit of motivation, that kind of thing. And then I put up a blunt post. Hey, I'm looking for 5 people that are looking to improve their sales. Come join the dojo. I'll help you double your sales. 100% money back guaranteed. DM me for information. And then people message me, and then I'm going back and forth with them. And then the idea is get off the phone and get them, or get off the texting with your thumbs and get on a phone call and then set the appointment. It's a great way to get people into your sales funnel, and it's a great way to get, but eventually they're going to come in the store. So it's blunt. Caroline, if you're seeing this video, blunt post. Set up the blunt post, and if she wants more information on it, have her reach out to me, and I'll tell her about it.
Well,
but
it's good though.
This is free. Like, social media is business media, and if you're not using it right, you're wasting your frickin' time. And I don't want you guys to waste your time. I want you to get leads, because those that are interested in, because there's only a small percentage at any given time. Your given marketplace, there's only 3% of the market that are interested in buying an electric bike at any given point. And of that 3%, we got to attract them to come into the store and ride. Well, blunt post. Look, who's your market? 55 plus, looking for couples that are interested in having fun, and come up with different posts. Looking for couples that are 50 years or older, looking to have fun, fitness, and freedom. Message me to find out how to ride for free at Pedego Cape May. Ride for free? Well, what does that mean? And then just get them in. Even if you said, hey, you know what, we usually have a 2-hour minimum, we're going to give you the first hour for free. Butts on bikes, man. You're not going to ask an 18-year-old to come in and try bikes. They can't afford it.
Yeah, I like it.
It works, and I can tell you it works. So,
and how often do you do the blunt post?
I do it at least twice a week. And honestly, no, yeah. Now, if you boost the post, I would still do it twice a week. You're not going to piss anybody off, because, again, if they're interested, they're going to, okay, if they're not, they're just going to go, they're just, fuck it, see ya. They don't care. So I'd rather do the blunt post and get results than be scared that somebody's going to be, I'm posting too often. Listen, there's a guy who's not far from you, Gary Vaynerchuk from VaynerMedia. He would tell you, if you think you're posting too often, good, double down. He's right. If somebody doesn't like your content, they're going to not watch it anyways. So they'll unlike you or unsubscribe. If they like what you're doing, they'll tell other people. So you might as well just do it. Double down. You can't, with social media is business media. And what's cool is if you have the right tools, you can audit your pages. Like you can go to Instagram and go, oh, that got engagement, that didn't, so I'm not going to post that again, but that did, and I'm going to repost it. And I do that. I check my account because it's free. So that's ultimately that's the idea. The rule behind doing your posts and asking, Rich, is kind of like the sitcom rule. It's kind of like, it's basically the 80-20 rule. 80% of the stuff you might go, you know, here's how to fix a flat, the importance of water while you ride a bike, wearing sunglasses when you're riding a bike. It's just information, and then blunt post. So it's like a sitcom. You know, there's 23 to 24 minutes of the sitcom itself, and then there's 6 or 7 minutes of commercials. So use that same rule with your social media, and you'll get results. And I learned that from a guy who's got, like, he went from nothing to 200,000 people on his Instagram. I mean, I've got maybe 500 people, a little over 500 people on my Instagram account that follow me, and yet this year I've generated $25,000 worth of revenue from doing blunt posts with only 500 followers. So you tell me if it works.
Okay.
It works. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Are you guys doing, like, I mean, networking events right now because of COVID have changed, but Tom Bach is a great guy to talk to about this. He's a master networker. I don't know if we've talked about this at all, but are you guys part of the Chamber of Commerce or a BNI group or anything like that?
We're part of the chamber.
All right. Yeah, one of the things about going to chamber groups and stuff like that that I'm a big fan of is if you go to an event, go in with the intention that you just want to go meet one person, but you want to meet an influencer. And what you want to do is you know, have your elevator pitch ready, right? The idea of the elevator pitch is, you know, if you're on the 5th floor and you're going down to the lobby, you've got less than 30 seconds to tell somebody what you do and entice them enough that they want your business card. Because if you go to a chamber event and you sit there with 100 business cards and you do the Las Vegas shuffle with your business card, people are going to just take your business cards and throw them out. But if you go to a chamber event and you start shooting the breeze with people and you ask questions and you want to be interested, like, hey man, how long have you been coming to the chamber? What's your business? How long have you been doing that? What's your biggest challenge in your business? And you don't even say anything about what your business is. And they ask you, hey, well, what do you got? What do you do? I put smiles on people's faces every day. Well, how do you do that? It's a great question. You know what? Love for you to come by my office and I'll buy you a coffee. You in? All right, here's my card. And then have them come by. And a chamber event, most people are going to be wearing, you know, they might be even wearing a suit. It's not uncommon. Like I've done this before where I've dressed up for the occasion where somebody from the chamber's coming into a bike shop. And so instead of wearing, you know, shorts and sneakers, now I'm wearing, like, you know, khakis and I might have a sport coat on, and they go, well, I'm not dressed to ride. And you go, look how I'm dressed, dude, let's go. And then you go out for a ride, you go somewhere else to go drink a coffee with somebody who's an influencer, and they have the experience. Now they've ridden a Pedego and they've experienced it. Now they could start telling other people within the chamber, holy shit, man, you guys got to go over to Pedego Cape May because this is crazy. Like, these electric bikes are awesome. And that's what you want. It takes a little bit of work, but I'll tell you, it goes a long way. Because those people at the chamber, they've got money. They're the people that are on LinkedIn, by the way. So LinkedIn, chamber, they have jobs, they've got good money. The other thing that Tom Bach does a great job at is always carry around the free rental card. And what you do is when you go to a restaurant on your own, you have a great meal, the service is good, you tip them, but then you let them know, hey, you know what? What I put in here is also worth $40. So above and beyond, and I tell the server, I go up to him, you did a great job, man. I also want you to know I gave you this. I want you to come in. Because servers and bartenders, They talk to people.
Yeah, that's an area, Rich, where there's all those bars along the Beach Avenue with those motel or hotels. That's something that we need to do. We need to stop there. I'll volunteer. I'll stop and I'll do a pub crawl.
Yeah. Pat takes all the he does all the dirty work.
I can see that. I'm going to put pub crawl. Is that an urgent list or is that the?
Yeah.
I'll put it in your important list. Pub crawl.
No, but honestly, though, there's those bartenders there who,
Absolutely. People are looking for something to do.
What's that?
People are looking for something to do, and they're also looking for something that's safe, social distancing. I mean, for all the right reasons. And if you get the bartenders are influencers.
Absolutely, they are.
No question.
So, you offer the bartender, hey man, you know what? I want you to come by, and even if you bought somebody a sandwich, you go for a ride with them, and then you go, hey man, here's a whole bunch of my free rental cars. I'd love for you to send some people over. Great. You go to the golf and country club, same thing. Like the question you got to ask yourself is, where are these people who are my customer? Where are these people when they're not in the store? And obviously, they're on their phones and everything else, so we know that we got to target them there. But where are they physically when they're not at Pedego Cape May? Because the question is, who's got my money? Where are they? Well, are they at RV dealerships? Are they at boat dealerships? Are they at the golf and country club? Are they at fine wine stores? Are they at cheese shops? I don't know. But if you start to cross-reference with these types of businesses, when you cross-pollinate with them, and on occasion, once a month, you call up the RV dealership and you talk to that one contact that you have, and you, hey man, how's business? We should get together for a coffee, and you just start build that's how you're going to network. If you just go in for one visit once, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But the RV dealership and the boat dealership people, those are the people that are buying bikes for sure.
I kind of anticipate, and tell me if this is what your experience is with other Pedego dealers, is a lot of this stuff has to be done during the off season. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, right now, the days are so unpredictable. Saturday, I didn't have time to take a pee. And then when Sunday, it was dead, but you don't know what to expect. So it's hard to really plan anything. I kind of feel like all these are great ideas. But a lot of this groundwork is going to be laid in from probably October through March.
The other thing, Rich, is you're right. A lot of it is it could be overwhelming. So you come back to this 4 quadrants: what's urgent, what's important, what's non-urgent, what's not important. And then the other thing that you got to do is you got to schedule when you're doing stuff. When you have a schedule,
it's hard. That is hard for us because we are.
For example, the networking thing, to be able to just stay in touch with people after you've met them in the off season. Let's say it's the RV dealer or the wine store manager or whatever. Hopefully at that point you've got their email. There's nothing wrong with writing. You could do a reach out. Just a single email to, hey wine store owner, Rich here at Pedego. And you just do it on the monthly, where you have it in your phone. It just pops up. Oh shit, yeah, I got to do an email, and you're just checking in. How are things going over there? And that's it. You're just shooting the shit with somebody, but you're reminding them that you're around, and because it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships.
Oh, I get that for sure.
But if you don't put it, one of the books that really changed the game for me in the last year is called The Perfect Day Formula. It's actually, my coach wrote the book. He's got it the perfect day formula. And I mean, I literally, typically I've got things that are like lined up, and then over the course of the week, like Thursday evenings, that's date night for Shauna and I. Like that's non-negotiable. So what we've done is we know that Thursday nights is date night. Sunday nights, it's family dinner night. So what I put my personal stuff first so that my business works around me instead of me working around my business. And I'm going to make a point of sending you the link to Perfect Day Formula. Craig sends out the book for free to people. And I know why he does it. Because people read the book and then they buy shit from him. So that's his funnel, right? He's a smart guy. But the book's great. I'll make sure I get it to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because that, honestly, Rich, if you do what because he's got the perfect week formula as well, but it's essentially the same kind of stuff that's in perfect day formula. And I'll tell you what, you'll walk away from that, at least you'll have like, okay, I've organized my week. So even if you did 15 minutes of what he calls non-urgent important work, which is using this, when you do non-urgent important work, that's the stuff that moves the needle. So, once your beer and bike tour and food tour is done, that's off your list. But if you had, okay, on every, Sunday before you open, 15 minutes before you open, you're writing up an email to your networking contacts, and you just send an email to people. It's as opposed to, watching YouTube videos that aren't going to do anything to help you, If you have tasks to get done, shit gets done, and then the needle gets moved.
Okay.
And that comes into systemizing your day. After networking is systemize your day. And part of the idea of systemizing your day, and that's why I put it in here, is it's literally like when you open the store, if you had a store manual where, like, if I showed up, it's the first time I'm at Pedego, Cape May, you gave me the keys, the manual should be, okay, unlock door, punch in code for the alarm, turn lights on, turn music on, and go over the step-by-step, literally in a manual. If you systemize it that way, it just helps you so that your next location will have the step-by-step. Because right now you're getting everything, like QuickBooks and all this other stuff, which is, it's daunting. Once you have the system in place, it's repeatable.
Yep. Well, my belief is, and Pat and I had this conversation, is all the stuff that you do is the important, right? Everything that I'm doing right now is the urgent.
Yeah.
I think we have to get a store manager and make that and pluralize that when we open up their stores, that allows me, Pat, to be out there doing this stuff.
Yep.
Right? Do you agree with that?
You asking me or you asking Pat?
I'm asking you. Pat and I already talked about it. I just
100%. Yeah. So right now the goal is, right, your goal is $100,000 a month. So once you've got the systems in place where you can start seeing the revenue coming in, then you go, okay, we're starting to see this churn. It's starting to make sense here. We got to hire somebody now so that you can do the stuff that is outside of the business. Like, because if you're in the store working on, like, in the business and not on it, networking becomes impossible unless you're going to get up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and do networking events until, 8:30, and then you're working yourself ragged, and that's not a life.
so what do you think? What do you think we should be looking for in a store manager?
That's a great question. I would, again, take the information like spare ribs, keep the meat, throw away the bone. I would get somebody who may have retail experience, but I would not necessarily hire somebody who's got bicycle industry experience. I find that the people that come from the cycling industry, now if they're in the e-bike world, that's one thing. But if they're in the cycling world, they're not necessarily a good manager for a bike shop. or for a Pedego store. It's one thing for a bike shop, but I was just speaking with Mark at Pedego Sarasota yesterday. He opened about a year ago. He's about to open up a second store, and when I call, and I'm not hiding anything here. His manager that he hired last year, I knew that this guy was going to it wasn't going to work. The manager had been in the bike industry for 25 years. He was a former racer, and he goes, we don't need sales training. What we need is Pedego needs to make better product. And I knew right then and there. I was like, this guy is not going to work. And I spoke to Mark, in fact, yesterday, and he said, yeah, Steve didn't work out. And I'm like, I knew that was going to happen. So what you want is you want to be able to have people that you could train based on what you've learned, as opposed to having, if somebody's a good manager, they're good with people. They might have had retail experience. They could have, right now, you could get somebody who was in the hospitality industry, like in the restaurant industry. They're usually high energy, good people, and they've managed people before. Like, you want a manager who's managed people, not just one person who's going to manage the store. Because ultimately, you want to be in a position where you're hiring good people. And then if you're going to put your want ad out there, here's some tricks that I would do when I'm looking for somebody. Again, there's nothing wrong with somebody who's been in the e-bike industry before, but not a cyclist. There's a difference. You could ask, I'm looking for somebody who's this age range.
Well, yeah, my thought was 50 plus.
Yeah. So you could ask, there's nothing wrong if you're going to put it out there, say, and be specific. Hey, we're Rich and Pat from Pedego Cape May. If you are 50 years or older and can work with and be like, if it was me, it's like, hey, my name's Joe Marcoux, and I'm looking for another person who wants to teach in the SOS dojo. If you have sales experience, have done my courses, blah blah blah, and I would say, like, you could take direction, understand that I'm a perfectionist, blah blah blah. Like, I would say things that you got to know that this is the type of person you're going to work with. So say, mention things, some qualities that you're looking for, and I would let people know I'm a task-oriented person. I'm very fastidious. I do team meetings. I'm high energy, and if you're not into any of that, then don't reply. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm putting my want ad out there, but I'm letting people know, like, this is what I'm looking for in a manager, and I'm going to be specific. And then at the bottom of my want ad, I would put, let me know what your 3 favorite movies are, as an example. Surprised how many people will send you their resume and they haven't filled out that question. Well, if they haven't filled out that question, you're out, because you're not looking at the details. You know what I mean? And that trick has saved me a shit ton of headache in my career. Because, I can get a resume. It's like, I can't believe you didn't fill, it's a job offer. So if you're not caring to go through the whole thing, so be specific what you want, and then ask a question on the bottom. What are your 3 favorite rock songs, or what music do you like to, or what's your favorite movie? If they don't answer it, I'm sorry, you're out.
That's a great trick.
Thanks. Yeah. So what do you look for in a manager? Be specific. What age range do you want? By the way, we need more women in the business. Women are they fit more than 50% of the bikes are being sold to women.
Completely agree. So can you do that? I've been going on Indeed to see about posting something on Indeed. Can I say I'm looking for 50 plus? Maybe I'll say 40 plus. The one thing I do think I certainly am challenged by it. I know Pat is challenged by it. Is that we're not, especially with social media, we're not technologically savvy,
Right.
and it takes us 10 steps to get to something that somebody who's 25 takes them 3 steps to get to, and I find that that is certainly a challenge for us. But that could be a challenge for anybody over that age group.
I'm with you.
I think for it, we fall into that range. I mean, if somebody's like in their early 40s, they get it. If they don't get it, then they've been living under a rock.
Yeah.
So maybe the ad would be 40 plus, is what you're saying, right, Pat?
I would, and I would just, I think you have to put in there computer savvy.
Yeah, and so I think
computer savvy, social media savvy.
Yeah, and again, you could put in some like particular questions. Like, do you have an Instagram account? Do you have a Facebook account? Or must have an Instagram account, must have a Facebook account, and then you could have that in your interview. And I would do an interview by Zoom before I got them in the store. Like, I would save yourself a shit ton of time. You'd know in the first 5 minutes. You'll know.
Agreed.
I completely agree with that.
And so the next thing that I would do is to answer your question, Rich, can you ask, specifically, do I want a man or a woman? I think you could preface it by saying, if you wanted specifically to hire a female, you could say, Pedego Cape May looking to add more women to the electric bike industry. We're searching for a female manager, 40 plus, must have experience in management and or in hospitality, high energy, and be specific. We're not talking race. We're not talking, religious background. We're just going, hey, this is what we're looking for. And if doesn't mean that you can't say looking for a manager, but there's nothing wrong with saying both male and female applicants wanted. That's the other option.
I would put male, and that's what I would put. I would put male and female applicants are welcome.
Yeah.
Because I think the male's already going to think it's for them, and if you specifically state females welcomed, I think that does the trick.
Yeah, and you could say, asking a question is always something that hooks the mind. So again, delegating is the other thing. So, if you're going to go on Indeed, or if you want to go and put it up out on Facebook, and by the way, guys, there's nothing wrong with putting out a blunt post to your people that already like your Facebook page and Instagram and saying, we're looking to hire. Who do you know who? DM us.
Oh, I love that. Put it out there.
Right? Because your customers are the type of people that you're selling to, and that they like you and you like them. Ask your customer base. Hey guys, who do you know who that would love to work in our industry? We'd love to, that's going to be gold.
Perfect. That's great.
Yeah. And then so delegate that task to Caroline, and then the next step is
right within that blunt post, we need to put specifically what it is that we're looking for.
Yeah, what you could do in the blunt post is you could create, like, again, because you don't want to have a massive post that nobody's going to read. So you could have a post where it's click here to watch this video, and in the video it could be, because people watch video, so it'd be like, hey, I'm Rich over from Pedego Cape May. We're looking for somebody to come and join our team, and this is why I made this video that you are watching. And you make it you. It's not, hey everybody. It's you make it like I'm talking to you. Like, all of your posts, you should go as if you're only talking to one person. Don't make it so like, hey everybody, because then it's not personalized.
I like that idea for even for the click here if you're 55 and you want to get some exercise and have fun. Click here, and then I get on and say, guys, we got tons of bikes here at Pedego, Cape May, and we're looking for people to go take it out for a ride. We're going to give you 2 hours free. We just want to get you out here. The experience is incredible. So come on out and ask for me, something like that.
Yeah. And then if you pose the question where it's like, hey, have you ever ridden one of these electric bikes yet? Okay. Are you ready to have so much fun that you can't take the smile off your face? Are you ready? And like things like that it hooks the mind, and that gets people wanting to jump in. So you're there, Rich. You're totally there. Now, if you guys want, the idea is delegate the task. But you can, and then here's the cool thing, Rich. You create the video once, and it becomes evergreen. You don't have to do the video 20 times a month. You create the video once, and you just repost the damn thing. Like I've got videos that I put up on Instagram. I've reused them for the last year, and they keep working. So perfect.
Great idea.
Yeah, it's called, you create your content and it becomes evergreen. It's always ever working. It's evergreen. So I would encourage that. The other thing is, if you want to delegate it, I know a couple guys that are, one guy's named Daniel Lamb, another guy's named Isaac Lara. I don't know what they would charge for it. But if you're like, if you want to create campaigns where like they get your social media working, I can get in touch with them and just ask them, hey, what would it cost? I will, just for shits and giggles, because I got a guy, like this guy Daniel Lamb. I'm putting together a Facebook ad campaign. He's in my SOS dojo, and I'm giving him a couple of months for free, so that he could create this campaign. I don't know what he usually charges, but like I've done a contra deal with him so that he's going to drive more traffic into my business. But I'll find out what he would actually charge for it. Because again, the idea is, what can you do that you can, this is what you need, but get somebody else to do it. Because for you to figure out, how do I create an ad campaign, blah, 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 like you can do it. I know I could learn it, but it would take me months to figure, I'm going to pay somebody so I could just keep focusing on doing what I do that makes me money. What's your area of genius, right? But I'll find out from Daniel.
Because that's the stuff, and Pat and I talked about that, that's the stuff that gets my juices flowing and being able to be creative and planning on, and selling. I love selling, and and the problem is that you there's time vampires here at work that that just again suck the life out of you and suck the time out of you, and then all these great things that you're coming up with and all these really cool ideas that I know we would be good at and they would be successful. Like, when the fuck am I going to get to do that? And that's why I think why like this is, we understand, Pat and I have started businesses before. We understand that there's an investment. I'm not going to wait till we're at $100,000 a month, even though I think we'll probably be, we should be close to that in August. Like, this is an investment. I mean, we got to get somebody in here now, or else we're going to be stagnant.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, there's so many people that I've visited stores that they're still in their store because they haven't taken the step of hiring somebody so that they could go out and do the stuff that's going to help, move the needle in the whole business.
That's why I like, Pat and I went and visited Todd Ketch down in Alexandria, and he's got a cool store. And now that I'm here and I see what's involved, and he does most of the maintenance for his bikes, I'm like,
crazy.
How's this guy doing anything?
Well, you end up not having a life. Like, this is why, like I told you before, on Thursday nights, it's like Sean and I is date night. Like, I don't care if my prime minister or your president called me and said, hey, Thursday night, can we have dinner? How's Wednesday or Friday? Because Thursdays are freaking non-negotiable. Like, that's it, man. I'm going out with my wife. Like, because if we don't, I don't know if you, if we don't schedule time in, and I'm not kidding. If we don't even schedule time for intimate time, it doesn't happen because we both end up going to bed. It's just life. So you got to put in the honey time in because shit, man.
I agree.
Shit, I'll never get laid.
Wow, it was only our fifth lesson, and we're talking about each other's sex lives. That's great.
We know each other. I think we know each other well enough, but there's some truth to that.
No,
If I don't like, so we book. The way I learned it from Craig, and it was so important. And Stephen Covey talks about this in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective. You got to make it so that your personal life comes first. Then you set up your business life to go around your personal life. I've had emails from other Pedego stores. I could see them. Like Todd actually sent me an email reply once 2 years ago. It was 3 a.m. and I called him on it the next day. I'm like, I saw it was 3 a.m. Were you at the store? And he's like, yeah, I was doing service on bikes. I'm like, are you kidding me? Hire a guy. Your wife's gonna divorce you, man.
Yeah, I couldn't even begin to know. And he was talking about opening up another, what was that, Arlington he was talking about? I was like, yeah, I really should open up a store in Arlington. And you could tell in his mind that, like, I don't even know how I could get to that because I got to fix this bike and I got all these tours and da-da-da. And I was blown away. And at the time, I didn't know. And then since working here, it's been like, you're going to be kidding me.
The other, we'll finish up on this note because I think it's going to be important because you asked what, hiring a manager. When you hire a manager who's in their 40s or 50s, the other thing that you might want to consider, and this is what we did at Fitness Depot, is we gave managers the option to either buy in or get a piece of profit share based on performance.
Completely agree.
So,
Absolutely.
So if they have vested interest at that point for profit, and again, guys, I can't say this enough. One of my other mentors said this, and I love it. Revenue feeds the ego. Profits feed the family. It's one thing to say, yeah, we're going to do $100,000 a month, but let's make sure that it's profitable, right? Because I've seen Pedego stores say, yeah, I did a quarter million on you this month, and yeah, okay, but what did you sell the freaking bikes for? If you're selling them at $100 over cost just to say that you did a $250,000, I don't give a shit.
Right.
I'd rather sell at $100,000 and make 44% margin, blended margin. Thank you very much. Like that's where you're making money.
No, agree.
Yeah.
So when you're getting the right manager, that's what we did at Fitness Depot. We had people come in and then they had a vested interest, so they were ready to work and be profitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Completely
Awesome.
agree.
We're gonna end on that note, guys.
When do you schedule that 5 minutes of intimate time with your wife?
5 minutes. Wow.
I'm giving you a little benefit of the doubt.
It's thanks, man. It's so infrequent. I don't even last that long. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God.
Thursday nights, if there's a gin and tonic involved, it's all good. Second, I get, when it's gin, Joe wins. You can tell.
That's a good way to end it.
Right? Sean is my wife, right? You could tell her that.
Well, yeah. Now that's the first I heard that. So, yeah.
So she's back in Winnipeg right now. I'm in Kenora. I'm at the cabin solo this week, getting my quality time solo. So she's not getting out here till Saturday morning. So we're missing date night. But I needed to get here. I needed to get away from people. All right, guys.
We'll see. One more.
All right, Joe.
We're going to do next week. Yeah, we're going to add next week for sure.
Good deal.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All
Have a
right.
good week.
Have a good week.
You got it.
Take care.